you know what? Even if you were going to be sarcastic and ironic, I think you should still act as though it was personal.
I'm sure that by now you've gathered that we are playing the Stanley parable.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
What an intro. Oh. I hate Mondays. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't know where that is. I'm assuming it's through all these open doors, though.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay. I hope I could go back and see.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
I wasn't paying attention to what he said. Can I go back into these? Oh. Oh.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
That buzzing is bothering me, though.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no
Oh.
path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here. It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Whoa. Fancy. This is what Dracula's house is made of. Executive bathroom? Wow. Because the boss knows what the boss says goes. If the bosses suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck.
That's amazing.
He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Ooh. This is ominous. Oh, what's back here? I can't see anything. I don't know. Resident Evil type game. Yeah, it looks like it. They haven't told me to pick up a gun yet, so
Descending
Fingers
deeper
crossed.
into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
okay. Got broken. Oh, okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
What? What?
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth
Jesus
was
Christ,
that at
no,
the
please
end of
let me
this
out.
hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
I don't know. I thought the door was gonna close on me. That one has doors that'll close on me though, but this one doesn't. Okay, okay. Oh God. Oh, it's so dark. Oh, it's so dark. Oh.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed
Oh.
with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Why does this place have no floor? What is that down there? Oh, no. No, thank you. Oh my God. I don't know where to look. Oh, looking down is a trap. Looking up is a trap.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed.
Hey, there
Each
I am.
bore the number of an
427.
employee in the building,
That's my office.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh, it has a bunch of red stuff on it. Red stuff on it. Red writing on it. Okay. Well, I'm just
This
pushing
mind
buttons.
control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Oh my God. Oh no.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay. This is a big ass screen. There is no way. How did you get this here without anybody seeing? It's huge. You just...
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it
That's
over?
pretty accurate.
Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Well, I got 2 achievements. Here, your first achievement, beat the game. Complete the Stanley Parable.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement?
Oh.
Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks.
Okay.
Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Okay. Game is trolling. I didn't even know that there was an achievement for this.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
I'm sorry to disrupt your story.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
What? I have to go to a different place? Oh. How many did he say? Let me just spin it.
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
437? What? Oh.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
This is mildly entertaining. This one?
Now, back to door number 437.
Okay. We got this. We got this.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Oh, there it is.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
It was amazing. Oh, nope, I passed it. There it is.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk.
That's kind of silly. What if my coworkers did come back? Wait, what did he say? 439? Or this one? 419? Okay, thank you. I can't jump. Like, there's no jumping. No, seriously, we disabled it. Okay. So it's an achievement to discover that you can't jump because they disabled jumping. This one?
When Stanley came to a set of
No.
2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ooh.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the
Close it.
first open door on his left to get back to business.
No.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he
Stop right
wasn't
now.
fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you are lying, stop. Right now, stop. I am not lying. I don't know what I'd be lying about right now.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the
Should I
story
jump?
has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me,
Okay.
I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Sure, buddy. Oh, I can't jump.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Oh, what the
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Sometimes that's all people need to be happy.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Maybe save up and take some vacation days.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. at last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Now what? I don't know if I'm supposed to be...
You see? Can he just not hear?
What?
How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
We're gonna escape this time. Oh, that's terrifying.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Okay.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Okay.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yes. That's crazy. Oh, wow.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
I don't know how to get out of this, honestly.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.